All right, this first poem is called Hash, and it's about the kind you smoke, not the kind you eat. Okay, hash. Tough stuff, tough as names like choking red that made you cough and made your tongue swell up. Or black, most potent. You could see the flecks of opium the dealers laced through it. Brown, standard crumb you bought in cakes wrapped with Arabic newspapers. We cut it up, sealed it in foil, sold it. Dollars became measures in cents, a 50-cent piece or a 10-cent piece. We scorched the hash, then mixed it with tobacco, smoked it out of a pipe or through a bong or hookah. Once we got bad stuff. We smoked it in a dugout by a baseball field. It hit so hard I thought I'd gone to town and stood out on a street with crowds of faceless people rushing by. John Lohr freaked out. We had to shake him down. I trudged to where we had all crashed that night, my feet glued, each step a Velcro tear. Once inside, the hallucinations came. I thought I might freak out myself, but then Jen Barker happened by. She talked me through. I didn't like her, she did not like me. But this was how you helped each other out. She left when she was sure I was okay. A Moody Blues LP played in the hall. The music sounded desolate as I lay on that space and stared out into dark. Thank you. This poem's called My Dreams Admitted Color. Now, like most men, I do not dream in color, or I did not. I'd only had one dream in color my whole life, and I remember it very vividly because it was so different. But then the last 2 years I've been dreaming in color. I don't know why. Most men dream in black and white only. So this is called My Dreams Admitted Color. My dreams admitted color: red fez hats, green apple, azure, rose pale, yellow, orange, parrots and toucans, brick, heliotrope wove through the sackcloth sapia burlap text of my night visions. Rooms whose shrinking walls closed in on me now closed shaded ocean blue, not black. In arid worlds where neutral tones prevailed and coloration was unknown, brigades of rainbow tumbleweeds rolled through. Out of the ivory gate and gate of horn, the fall streams and the trues, tonalities like sprinkles on a cake, like northern lights, like paper lanterns hung out on a cord, in bright hues interdict the somber ash, the phantom shades, night's ponderous leaden eye. Okay, what do I want to do now? Okay, this poem is called Priscilla, and Priscilla lived in ancient Greece, and she was a poet. Some of her poetry has survived. She was also a prostitute, a courtesan, a high-class prostitute. And a few of her poems survived, but they're mostly not her dramatic poems that everybody praised her for. Everybody wrote about, oh, Priscilla, she's the greatest poet. You ought to read her elegies. But the only things that she wrote that survived are her drinking songs, which are rather bawdy, and her other kind of love poems that are, not love poems, but lust poems. So this is a dramatic monologue, Priscilla speaking, and it's called Priscilla. Priscilla, poet and courtesan of ancient Greece, 400 BC. The world has praised the brilliance of my poems, just as so many men have praised my breasts, my secret parts, no secret to their eyes, my limbs, which they laud in poetic terms, embarrassed metaphors, white snow, the moon in motion, marble brought to life, the strength of a gazelle or deer. They praise my arms, my bottom, and my face more than they praise my poems. Of course, they like the drinking songs. I write the best. These will live on, I think, more than my hymns, paeans, and dithyrambs I have composed, recited at their feasts, at times recited when I was in bed with one or two of them. They're fond to have a courtesan who writes a lyric well and can do more than entertain their ears with saucy spice of gossip, dirty jokes, insinuations, and suggested speech. My fame has gone abroad. Lysipius has raised my statue, shining bronze, ablaze in the city street. Some grumble, asking why a courtesan, a high-class whore, they'd say, should be graven amid the heroes of our city gates, Homer and Pericles and senators of long-forgotten deeds. My poetry is from my heart, my mind, and parallel with what my body does. Rhythm and pace are arts that can transfer. The poet tells pretty lies, so does the whore. I roll with words as easily as with my customers, the men who pay my fee. I reach for pleasure, gasp for depths beyond the soul, journey into ecstatic dark, out to a burst of overwhelming light. Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks. And just something I should have said, the top sculptor in Athens actually made a statue of her and put it right next to all the heroes and politicians, and of course the people didn't think much of that. But all right, now this is another one again that's one of mine that's literary, so it needs a little explanation. It's called Advice to a Wraith, and there's one part in Hamlet where he's about to give a big revelation and tell everybody what he's worried about. Then he backs off and says, everybody in this town's a jerk. And one of his friends says, we know that already. And I'll do the quote exactly as his friend says it. Here, so you get the little quote first. Thank you. And then you get the poem. Okay. Ready? So, advice to a wraith. There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this. Hamlet. We need no ghost come from the grave to tell us politicians lie, lovers are false. No wraith from purgatory or from hell informing us that life will be filled with loss. Children will disappoint us, or the church is rife with hypocrites. That our best friends will swindle us and leave us in the lurch, betray us, and then never make amends. If you come from the pit, a residue of sulfur on your skin, we pray, don't waste our time. We're busy. Sure, we'll talk to you, a messenger unhoused and ungraced, but be worth hearing or return below and tell us things we don't already know. Time for one more? Okay. Yeah, this last one, I don't know why I'm reading my raucous poem tonight. January 11 is the feast day of Saint Vitalis, and he was a saint that used to show his saintliness by actually paying prostitutes to come and lay in bed with him, and he could resist their temptations. And then in England, on his feast day, they would round up all the prostitutes and they'd make them do penance. They would make them walk through the city streets and then stand in front of a church and hold candles in the January cold. So this is called the Feast of St. Vitalis' Day, January 11th. Vitalis, ancient hermit saint, would pay harlots to come and tempt him in his bed. They never did prevail. And on his day, in merry England, prostitutes were led down muddy streets, a long parade of whores, and forced to perform a penance in the cold. Feet bare, wrapped in a sheet, placed at the doors of churches, hair untied, they'd stand and hold a candle in the January snow for hours, abject, shivering, displayed, so all the goodly, godly folk would know the same shame and sin inherent in their trade. Their abjectness was largely a disguise. The snowy penance helped them advertise. Thank you.